Hello traders, good morning. Today is 23rd of September. This is episode 7 for the post-market analysis video series by Tradeducation. So before I share today's market analysis, I would just like to give a quick disclaimer that trading involves substantial risk and investors should stay away and read their documents carefully before trading or investing in any instrument, be it index, futures, or cash market. One more thing is all the information which I am sharing here is for educational purposes, and this is my understanding and my level of analysis, and it cannot be used for any trading purpose, any trade location, or for any trading purpose by you. So let me quickly switch over to Nifty and give you, oh man, what an amazing day it has been for the Nifty. Basically today, okay, sorry, yeah, let me quickly share my screen. So last Friday, if you see the profile, this was mainly a new sentiment. The auction built higher, and I shared in my previous video that this was the level where I was monitoring what is happening at this auction. Earlier, first was at this level, 11,300. Second level was this, 11,200. So these were some of the levels which I was observing, what's happening at this particular auction. So today, what I was expecting is earlier, if you see the past week, the auction was in a balance, followed by a lot of inside bars. Then we had an immediately auction going down. And then Friday, we had this big responsive buying, mainly because of the corporate tax discount of 22%. So it's pretty good. Yeah, pretty good, and India is now among those top countries wherein the tax rate is pretty low. So that actually will provide a lot of inflow from the FDIs. And what I was expecting today is to monitor for a continuation if this big move was strong, and that is what happened in today's market. So let me quickly take you through the volume profile chart. So what I was expecting is this up move was anyways when the market opened today. I was just monitoring whether we have a follow through or a continuation to the upside. And one more thing is if you see the volumes of Friday, they were pretty huge compared to the average volume that was of 15 million. It was pretty huge. So all time frame players were present in that market. So what I was looking for today, so what were my trading references is, so some of the trading references were the previous day high because this was a big spike, multiple spikes, multiple single print zones. So there were a lot of anomalies. So there are multiple clustered volume profiles. A lot of anomalies are there. So I was just expecting whether we get a continuation or not. So let me zoom in chart a bit and show you where is the open today and what I was looking at. Okay, so this is today's open, and I was monitoring what is happening. So there is, first of all, there is this big gap. There is this good gap. We saw the open when the market opened higher, and then it started fading down. So in the A period only, when I saw a sort of rejection at this, and it came back below today's open. This was one trade location which I entered for short with this level, this high as my target. So what I was expecting a continuous, so there was a responsive buying. One of the reason can be those players who went long, maybe they will be profit booking. So I went short, but I did not expect, so it did not, I was expecting to this gap to be filled, but it did not happen. Then the B period form, again the C period form. So what was happening is A period, B period was an inside bar, and C period was again an inside bar. And this type of auction development was happening. I shifted my confidence from selling to low confidence because a big bar, outside bar with an inside bar and inside bar. So there is right now there is no clarity in terms of whether the auction is going to go up or whether the auction is going to go down. So what I did is the level. So after today's open where I went short, I just booked my profits in. So basically not profits, but I booked my losses, and I just went away when the C period completed, when nothing was happening. So this is somewhere where so this is where I exited, and this is where I entered. So this was one loss which I made today. So what I was thinking is I was also looking at the developing point of control. So that time the developing point of control was somewhere at this level, and when the D period formed, and it took out the IB high. So I was just looking. So this was a pretty wide IB, uh, and fail of auction to get to continue higher and get, and we started accepting below this IB range. It is good for sellers, but that did not happen. So what happened there? So what I did is I was just monitoring what is happening at this IB levels. I was also looking into order flow, the whether the auction is complete, incomplete, how many buyers and sellers are present. So once this D period shot up, that time the point of control, or the developing point of control, which was somewhere here, it shifted a bit higher. So that is what I was looking at. That is what I was monitoring at, and I was waiting for the auction to come back to this A period or the IB range high, but that did not happen. So what I did is I just took a long trade here, somewhere around here. And then this was a pretty good move, so I actually booked somewhere around 11,640. One more thing which I would like to share is 11,560, 11,540, 11,500, and 11,000, I think 200. So based on the OI analysis, this is where a lot of open interest was developing from the call side. And if we see from the put side, it was from 11,000 onwards, then 11,200. So I was just, so this is, you do not have to look at all this data, because this will add a lot of confusion. So I just look at the OI data in terms of understanding. So that is, I use it from the daily analysis, that where the put writing is happening, where the call writing is happening, where is the resistance and where is the support. So this is what actually I look at. Sometimes I don't look at religiously, or on daily basis. I only look at when we get sort of this big move, and just wanted to understand what is the overall sentiment, and where the buyers and sellers, what they are doing, what the option writers are doing. So today the auction in Nifty was in favor of buyers. A lot of buying activity happened, and I was also monitoring what is happening at this peacock level. So I actually exited early somewhere here, but I should have kept this POC or peacock level as the target. The reason why I did not continued, or because I was a bit impatient. Second thing is I had a loss here, loss in the A period, B period, and C period trade. So after a loss, when I see a trade which is going in profit, I immediately shift to book it as early as possible. I don't. If I have waited, then this would have been a very good trade. But yeah, anyway, so that's my psychology. I need to work on this. Second thing, so this was the first trade, second trade, and this is where I was monitoring what is happening at this peacock level. Once the auction was not developing higher, I was looking at the order flow, and I saw a sort of exhaustion pattern forming. Also, there were less buyers present and less sellers at this peacock level. Also, there were a lot of stops built here. So once the stop hunting activity finished, so I was just monitoring what is happening here, how the auction is getting developed. When this period completed, that gave me an additional confirmation that you need to go short. And if you see, this is close to the depop level. So I just went short, keeping this was my target. Uh, but it did not happen, and I just booked somewhere at this level around 3 o'clock. So this was a good trade if I entered here. But anyway, see, you cannot always time your trades. You all first have to understand the context. So what the overall context was telling today is buying was strong. We had a big spike move up, followed, and we also have a follow through today. Uh, One more thing is this is a sort of a double distribution. The profile is sort of a double distribution. So tomorrow we need to monitor what is happening at this level, what is happening at the high, and what is happening at the low. One more thing to note here is the close is above the so the close is above the in the top balance compared to the below balance, which indicates a sort of bullishness. Buyers are doing or bulls are doing pretty good job. So let's see whether we again reach at this 12,000 level the election day high, or it was 12,050 or some that levels. So this is what I am expecting, the auction to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow we need to see what is happening around these levels. So that's what I was looking in Nifty. Let me quickly go to the Bank Nifty charts. In Bank Nifty, again we had the same thing which happened in Nifty. We had this big responsive up move. This was a new sentiment, and we also got a follow through. So one level which I was looking at, so this was a major resistance level which got broken out. So one of my trading rule is whenever a resistance becomes support, you just go with the flow and go with the flow and see. And so when I saw this type of setup being happening, I just went long. I bought, sorry, not bought put, but I sold puts. I'm a option. Sometimes I do option writing. You should not do it because it's not always feasible because a high risk is involved. So I shorted puts when I saw this type of development happening, keeping my first target at this level. So this is nothing but 30,500 something, 570 or 580 something. So this is where, and this was my second target, whether we are achieving this 31K or not. So that is what I was looking at from the trade location perspective. So let me quickly go through the market profile chart. So similarly, we had this big good responsive buying happening, and we again got a follow through today. So tomorrow we need to see whether we are again getting a follow through, or else whether we are trading in the same balance, in the same value, or whether what is happening. So that tomorrow is a very critical day, a crucial day for me, because we had a good follow through. There were a lot of, so this is where the first balance is where profit booking was happening, people who went long here or went long here. And the second balance is nothing but new money or new people or new business or new players getting in, and they are booking in their longs, so they are just holding their long positions. So tomorrow in Bank Nifty we need to see what is happening at the high, what is happening. So this is an HVN. So what is happening at this level? This is an HVN, and this is the low. So these are the levels which I'll be monitoring what is happening at this level, how the option, whether we are getting a sort of accumulation or distribution, do we get any sort of rejection or do we get any sort of support, uh, how fast is the rejection or how fast so these are some of the things which I'll be monitoring in the Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty, I also took some trades. I'll I'll share what was my trade location, where I took the trade. So in Bank Nifty, what I was observing is when this A, B, C, and so somewhere, let me go back. I don't remember the levels clearly, but this was 2813. Okay, so 28. So after this, so 28. Yeah, somewhere here, this is where I went long. The reason for going long is I explained I was looking at the daily chart, and there was a big swing high, or you can say there was a resistance, and the auction started developing around resistance. So when this sort of scenario happens, so this was my stop loss. So for minimum loss, I was expecting to take out the day high, and I did not expect I'll be getting such moves. So this is where I entered. This was a level of resistance, and a lot of sideways movement was happening. So the scenario which was my mind is two things will happen. The auction will go higher, or the auction will go lower. If the auction goes lower, then this is my stop loss. I just exit, and it's a bad trade, or I would say not a bad trade, but a trade wherein I made a loss. If the auction goes higher, then man, this was a pretty good move, and I can capture this. If I hold, if I kept my position open, this was again a pretty amazing move. But see, always trade as per your plan. this was my trade plan. And always stick to your plan. If the market or auction favors in you, then just book it. Don't be greedy. Don't expect that. So never ever expect that what you think market will do the same thing. Uh, See, markets are quite dynamic. Markets are quite you can burn your fingers, you can burn your hard-earned money. So in such scenarios, always follow your trade plan. Okay, so let me now quickly go through the crude oil chart. So in the past, the Friday, the last episode wherein I shared that these are the, so I was monitoring this rally high. This was the overnight session levels which I was monitoring what is happening at this levels. And also I shared that if the auction reaches somewhere at the range high, then we can immediately go for a short trade, keeping this overnight low session low as the target. And the same scenario happened in the US session. So this was a double distribution day followed by a balance day followed by one more balance day, and there is some sort of an excess seen here. Uh, Today when the market opened, what I was looking at this, I was looking at this epoch level. I was looking at the US session low and the overnight session low, uh, and also this US session low. So I was looking what is happening at this levels. One more thing which I shared earlier is we need to monitor this spike. So this is the spike, big spike which we saw in crude oil. The auction where was still here, and right now, so auction went till here, and now I'm expecting all the single print zones to get cleared. So today, what was happening is I was in a short trade in crude oil. The reason for going short trade is there was one reference, which is nothing but I was monitoring at the peacock level. So this is the peacock level, and I saw some sort of a rejection level. I saw a sort of a hesitation in the auction not moving higher. Uh, I was also looking at the order flow charts and also looking at the volume spread analysis charts. And that there were a few signals there. They were giving me a sort of indication. So I went short at 4180, keeping my first target at this low, the US session low, that is 41, somewhere around 4160. So, and this was my second target. This is 4140. So I was short with two lots. This was my first target and this was my second target. So I was able to capture 80, 60, so 20, and 80, 40, and 40. So around 60 points move in crude oil with two mega lots, which is pretty good for a retail trader. Comparing that, I have just recently started trading crude oil using market profile. Earlier, I used to use a lot of indicators like supply demand and pivot points and MACD, RSI, and all those, God knows, all the indicators I've used. And uh, how I moved to crude oil is the story is pretty simple. I first experimented in Nifty. I understood or learned the concepts in Nifty. Then I moved to Banknifty. Currently, I'm working on the Reliance and also on crude oil. So this is how I moved to my this is my journey for crude oil for market profile analysis. So with that, I would like to thank you all. That marks the end of today's market analysis session. And I would like you to please subscribe to my channels. Stay tuned, and always as retail traders, we need to understand that capital is limited for us. We don't have much capital. We are not market makers. We are not market movers. We are those lot or those lot of people who have limited funds with limited knowledge. So our goal or our agenda should be to safeguard our capital first, because markets are very crude, markets are very rude. They are here. There are a lot of traps. So today there were a lot of traps in Nifty, Bank Nifty, crude oil which were forming. But thanks to market profile, I was able to stay away from those traps, and I was able to preserve my capital. So that's it. So thank you guys. Thank you again, and feel free to share this video with your friends with your trading community. And let's catch up tomorrow and let's see what's in store for us tomorrow. Great. Thanks. Bye for now and take care.